Hey everybody, welcome to the Fandom Nights podcast where we break down pop culture one fandom at a time. My name is Dustin the Star Wars guy, and today we're going to be breaking down the Bounty Hunters 12 Target solo issue, part of the War of the Bounty Hunters crossover comic series. And so this comic issue features two main bounty hunters, Dengar from Empire Strikes Back, and a new one that was actually conceived back in the 70s. And they renamed him to Bailart Valance. And so this comic mainly features him, but also his sidekick, Dengar. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Punch it.
May the Force be with you.
So this issue was written by Ethan Sachs and colored and penciled by Paolo Vellinelli and Arif Prianto. Well, to get things started, let's kick it off with the opening crawl.
The cyborg bounty hunter, Valance, recently rescued a stranded rebel freighter from marauding pirates. Dengar let it slip that the notorious Boba Fett captured Valance's old friend, Han Solo. The two rival hunters have come to an understanding in order to find Fett. Valance now tears through space in a stolen vessel, desperate to pick up the trail before it's too late. We start off in the Yatub system near Nar Shaddaa, and Valance and Dengar are in pursuit of Boba Fett and his cargo. Dengar is worried that Valance doesn't have a good plan to acquire Solo from Fett, and Valance just wants to find Fett, get Solo, and kill Fett. Dengar replies with, "Not really a deep thinker, are you?" Valance told him he was free to leave anytime and asked Dengar why he even agreed to help him in the first place. Dengar replied with, "I have my reasons," as he turns on his bounty puck showing a bounty of Boba Fett paid by Jabba the Hutt. Valance and Han Solo used to know each other in a previous life, before betrayal came in. Valance clearly wants Han safe, and Dengar just wants Boba's body to deliver to Jabba for the high bounty tag. Then, in a sudden moment, the proximity alarm goes off, meaning another ship is close by. They wonder who could be on their tail, and sure enough, it's two other bounty hunters from The Empire Strikes Back, 4-Elom and Zuckuss, the two bug-looking and droid bounty hunters. Dengar is angry at what Valance has gotten them into, and Valance isn't giving up anything for those two bugs, and says, "I'll die before that happens." Dengar, ready to kill Valance, says to him that Han Solo is making you reckless, and asks him what is so important about him to you anyways. It cuts to a flashback of Valance back in the day on Abrogado Ray Spaceport. Valance was desperate to make some cash, but the Pike Syndicate knew a cyborg was there and knew he was a part of the Hutts. The Pikes told him if he can survive all the way to the port, you got the job, but Valance would have to fight his way through the Pike soldiers. Pikes and Hutts are enemies, and Hutt cronies aren't welcome here. The Pikes make Valance mad, which isn't a good idea, and the brawl starts. The Pikes held a grudge that Valance took them all out and didn't want the job. After all, he saw himself out. Back to the present, and Dengar tells Valance the ship can't take much more damage, as Valance makes a rash decision to drive into an asteroid field, and Dengar says, "Are you trying to get us killed?" Valance flies right into the asteroid field that has many at what looks to be Purrgil, but let me know in the comments if you think these are something else. Thank you. Dengar takes control and assumes command of the ship after knocking Valance out. While Valance was down, he has a continued flashback of his time on Abrogado Ray, and he was set up by his associate at the time, and said that he should kill the target, get paid, and leave before the Pikes get here, and for sure kill him. He looks at a sniper rifle and says he sees someone next to a Wookiee. He discovers it's Han Solo. Han tells the Dockmaster that the Millennium Falcon is not a hunk of junk, and he made the Kessel Run in what was about to be 12 parsecs, but he agreed to pay the fee. It cuts back to the present time, and 4-Elom and Zuckuss are about to blow them up as Dengar strikes a deal, betraying Valance and telling them the information he has is more valuable than killing us. Back to the flashback, and Valance is aiming up and shoots past Han and Chewie and takes out the other gunners, and firefight breaks out. Han exclaims, Can we go one day without someone trying to kill us, Chewie? Chewie gets hit in the arm, but it's just a flesh wound, and Valance begins battling the Pikes. Han says again, "You jettison cargo one time, and a Hutt never lets you forget it." Valance and the Pike battle hand-to-hand combat until the Pike gets the upper hand and aims at Solo again. And just as he's about to shoot, Valance tackles the Pike off the edge of the balcony, and Valance falls all the way down while the Pike held on to the railing. Valance falls at Solo's feet, and Han is like, "Valance?" Valance, who feels awful, and tells him he didn't know. "I wasn't going to." Chewie holding back Han from charging at Valance, and he tells him, "I thought we were friends. I saved your life." "What the hell's happened to you?" Valance says, "Wait, I'm sorry." Back to the present, and Valance wakes up from his dream, and he sees that Dengar is making a deal with Zuckuss and 4-LOM by telling them he knows where Boba Fett is right now. Valance gets angry at Dengar for not telling him about the bounty and selling it out to them. He says by now every bounty hunter in the sector will have heard about the bounty for Fett's head, and some will come for the credits and some for their own reasons, and tells Valance that he better help him find the hydro spanner and get the engines online, or we won't have enough time to find Fett and his precious cargo first. Dun dun dun.
Well, to get started with the review portion of this video, I'd like to talk about Ethan Sachs and his writing that he did in this issue. He, like Charles Soule, is a very skilled comic book writer and knows what he's talking about when it comes to Star Wars. All of the dialogue was very fluent, nothing seemed really out of context or out of continuity, and Ethan Sachs, for those who aren't familiar, also wrote the Old Man Quill and Old Man Hawkeye series, as well as the Star Wars Allegiance and the Galaxy's Edge miniseries. So if you aren't familiar, go check those out. Paolo and Arif, I thought their coloring and penciling jobs and illustrations overall were fantastic. I don't think he could have really done any better. There was nothing that really stood out that was fantastic, but it was overall, it was pretty amazing. So it was good to see. The person I'd really like to see would be Valance, Bailart Valance. And I think I would love to see him go into live action. I think he would be one of the next characters to possibly go into live action. So I guess we'll find out and kind of see for where that takes us. Well, that will conclude today's coverage of Bounty Hunters 12 Target Solo. Tune in next time when we break down and walk through Darth Vader 12 Into the Trap. So thank you guys for watching this episode, and as always, if you want to become a Phantom Knight, subscribe on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We'll put them all up here for you guys to see. And then if you would love to hear our audio-only podcast, subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify podcasts, and as well as Google Podcasts and many more platforms. So, and as always, subscribe to YouTube if you want to see more of this guy learn and do better each time. So thank you guys, and may the Force be with you always.